Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000 or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Happy Monday. It is yours truly, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio with my brand new intro theme. What do you think? It gets you riled up in the morning, doesn't it? That's some energy going there. As we continue to make some improvements and some changes to the program, we did have to change. This has been in the works for a little while now. We did have to change some of the music that we have here. We just had to do it. So, but this is the new intro, and we plan on. I don't believe that the old intro will be coming back anytime soon, if at all. So this is the new one. I love it. Guess we're going to keep it. It is, as I said, it's Monday, January the 18th. Right here to start off your week. I know it's MLK Day in most states. I think it's Civil Rights Day here in New Hampshire, but Martin Luther King Jr. Day, most other states across the country. Most of the kiddies, if not all the kiddies, are probably out of school for the holiday. Banks are probably closed. They added a holiday, federal holiday, and what happens? Banks automatically close. Yeah, did they follow the federal holiday thing? I don't know. And now somebody wants to, we have this rise that wants to, a rise in attitude that we should make Election Day a holiday. Do they really think more people are going to go out and vote? Or do they think they're just going to take the day off and make it a 4-day weekend, actually? Because who's going to want to go to work on Monday just to get Tuesday off? Really, that's what it's going to, you're probably going to get less people voting. Pushed for it before. But in any case, the call-in number is still the same, 603-835-3224. Again, that's 603-835-3224. We are, look, folks, this weekend, well, what can I say? This weekend was not one of the greatest weekends. There are some things that have been happening here in New Hampshire. Things happening across the country, across the globe, as well as some things have been coming to light to me that indirectly and directly involve yours truly, L. Rod of Truth. Let me just say that, first of all, I have not endorsed anyone. I have not endorsed Trump. I have not endorsed Cruz. I haven't endorsed Carson, Rubio, Bush, who else? Fiorino, what's his name? Christie, the Shackley guy from Ohio. I haven't endorsed anyone. Rand Paul? No, nobody. Now, do I have some leanings? Yeah, there's a few people that I'm leaning towards, but I haven't made up my mind yet, and I don't have to do so until February the 9th. And it's probably going to come down to that last second before I final decision. It's going to be a well thought out decision. But if you're hearing from other people, and this stuff is out there, I've seen it, I've heard it, I haven't endorsed anyone. So don't buy the notion that Rod is behind, Trump, or Rod is behind Cruz, or Rod is behind this person or that. No, I'm not. And I find it disheartening, but I kind of do. Look, and then when you try to, when you find out something and you try to approach the person. Well, not personally face to face, but you try to approach the person. And certain things were said or done that involve this person. And they deny it. I mean, look, if you make a mistake, own up to it. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And when you make a mistake, this is the problem with this country today. We have too many people, most of them under the age of 35, who've kind of actually gotten the lessons from their own, baby boomer parents on this. But they don't take responsibility for their actions. It's always somebody else's fault. I mean, yes, sometimes it could be somebody else could be the catalyst or the person or event that causes certain things to happen to you or for you, what have you. But your reaction to that is all yours. Now, if somebody brings some information to light and says, did you do this or say this, and you lie about it, well, that's all on you. Doesn't matter how the situation got to be where it was for you to be confronted. If you lie about it, it's all on you. And I think it's about time that we as Americans, I know I am, we as American people start holding people more accountable, both in our private and in our public lives. And it needs to start now because the voting starts in a couple of weeks. And we need to get to the truth of what is going on out there. I mean, look, I know you had the Democratic debate over the week. Did anybody watch that? I didn't watch it. Evidently, it ended 7 minutes early. It ended early again. Snorefest. I mean, I saw a few people commenting on Facebook. Some people, I don't know where all of this support for Hillary is because I'm not seeing it on Facebook. I see people who are on supporting a Democrat ticket. They're all feeling the burn. I got some stuff on Bernie Sanders today too. Yeah, it's just amazing to me. All of this stuff that I'm seeing on a daily basis, it just comes down to, a story here about Michigan and oil prices, gas prices. There is a gas station in Michigan, evidently, Fox 5 New York. I don't know why New York is reporting, but there's a gas station in Michigan that's selling gas for 78 cents a gallon. Yeah. When was the last time? I don't know when the last time 78 or 80 cents a gallon. And the story, it's really not, and I have to take responsibility. I did not get a chance to really vet the information on this story as to find out why it's at 78 8 cents a gallon. I mean, they got diesel at $1.36. I don't know why. Because the price and along with taxes, fuel taxes, doesn't support 78 cents. I mean, that below 78 cents a gallon is below. I don't know if this was a sale, if this was a something that was promotion by being subsidized by someone or some company. I don't know. The story from Fox 5 NY did not mention it. Just said they were going 79 cents a gallon. But, in the next couple of weeks, it should be within 2 weeks, it should be back above $1. Last I checked, wasn't a barrel of oil, it was $30-ish. I mean, most places are still paying. Buck off. Great news. Well, no, not really. It's not really great news. See, this is the problem again. We're lacking in education. People automatically assume. Look, you've got people in this country who've always hated Walmart. And they hate Walmart, and they say Walmart doesn't pay their employees enough. And Walmart says, well, we're in a competitive business, retail industry, and we're trying to be the lowest priced retailer out there. And you have all these people saying, well, maybe you should raise prices. And then some of these same people are saying maybe Walmart should raise prices. They're saying that, this low gas price is so great. Well, not really. Because there are people in the oil industry right now, especially in the oil and gas exploration and extraction part of the industry, and those people that deal directly with those types of jobs that are connected to it, support jobs, they're being lost. And these are high-paying jobs. And, sometimes North Dakota and South Dakota and parts of Montana, some of those blue-collar jobs are paying $60,000 or $70,000 a year. We're talking a kid can graduate from high school, no experience or college education, go to work in one of these oil fields and be making $50,000 within 6 to 12 months. In upwards of nearly six figures within 5, it's already been happening. But those are the kind of jobs that are being lost. So tell me how that's good for the economy if unemployment's going to go up. Not good for the economy. There are parts, there are reasons behind this. We know what those reasons are. Those reasons are that OPEC, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and other places, what they're doing is they've turned on the spigots. They're not controlling their production, and they know that the free flow of oil is going to bring down the price dramatically. And it's all, it's about ISIS trying to garner as much cash as they can to keep their... And for OPEC, especially Saudi Arabia, it's trying to harm and shut down the American oil industry. That includes the United States and Canada. We've already seen it. So basically what economists are telling us is that a break-even point for U.S. and Canadian, and really the extraction of what it costs to take the oil out of the ground and to ship it, is about $40 to $45 a barrel. Now, to really make a decent, all those high salaries, you need about $70 a barrel. But 45 is about the break-even point. And yet now we're down below 20, So is that if you're below the break-even point, what happens? You start losing money. Well, those oil companies, Rod, they're making too much money. Okay, so now they start losing money. Are they going to pay taxes? Because Bernie Sanders is out there talking about paying, corporate America paying their fair share. How does corporate America pay their fair share if they're losing money? How does corporate America contribute to the government coffers if those corporations, those businesses are losing money? They're not making a profit. What happens when somebody's not making a profit? We've already seen this before. It's never failed. Company doesn't make a profit. What's the first thing they do? They lay off workers. They lay off people. For those of you in Rush Limbaugh's Real Linda, that means firing them. And then, if they can't fire enough people in order to bring the company profitable, what happens? Company goes bankrupt into liquidation, and everybody loses their job, including a bunch of people in support positions. Hey, you got some towns where they're industry specific or industry heavy, where you have a significant number of people who are employed by one employer or in one industry, and that industry takes a tank. Well, what happens to the support industry? Well, they lose money too, and they start laying off people. And some of the smaller mom and pop shops begin to go out of business. It's kind of hard to sell beer for $2 a bottle when the person doesn't even have $2 in his pocket because he has no job. So bars go out of business too. I know. Geez, holy macroley, bars are going to go out of business? Well, that can't be. We can't all. It's kind of funny when you start talking about certain industries and certain. Bernie Sanders says, so let's break up all the big banks. Really? How many people are you going to put out of work when you break up these big banks? Understand, when companies merge, there is some savings that is had because there's some overlap, obviously. In other words, in most cases, when two companies merge, well, everybody has to look out for their job. They can't have two CEOs, so one of them has to go. That's the one thing about mergers. When you're talking about mergers and acquisitions, whether it be a small, medium, or huge corporation, there's some turmoil at the top as well as at the middle and at the bottom. Trying to eliminate duplication. That's where the savings comes in. And so when you split something apart, well, yeah, now you're going to need two CEOs instead of one. Great. So the top gets another job. Fine. What about all the rest? Well, all those jobs don't come back because now the company's smaller. There isn't a need. A small business may only need one accountant, so they hire somebody. They hire a private accountant because that accountant doesn't have to work on that small business, 8 hours a day. But a company that has, say, 1,000 employees, they will probably need an in-house accountant. So they'll have an in-house accountant. But if you break that company up, now they're a company now of 100 employees each. Well, now you might not need that accountant. So there are going to be job losses when you break up. When they broke up AT&T a long time ago, back in the 80s, broke up Ma Bell and the Baby Bells. There were people that lost their jobs. There was some pain. Now, we can look back and say, yeah, but it was a great thing. Well, maybe. All they had to do was just allow competition. They didn't have to break up Ma Bell in order to get competition. They just had to allow competition, true competition. Because, Ma Bell was operating under the purvey of monopolies back then. Government sanctioned, we still had government sanctioned monopolies up until a few years ago. It's called the energy sector, or, you didn't used to have a choice up until recently where you got your electricity from. Now you You kind of do, but you still kind of don't, because now they split up the electric companies, and even the electric companies that still own both parts are kind of split up. You've got the transmission side, in other words, those who own the power lines, and the side that actually provides the power. Well, you still don't have a choice about the power lines. Your old electric company still owns those, and they're still charging you a hefty sum for those power lines. So the only place that you get to save money or get to compare prices is on the provider side. But that's relatively new. Before, a few years ago, you didn't have a choice. You moved into a neighborhood, you had one electric company. That was it. And that was government sanctioned. Well, government gets involved, people lose their jobs. Government gets involved and they say, well, we're trying to increase competition. Well, all they do is institute more laws that make competition nearly impossible. The entry level to a lot of these industries now is rising higher and higher and higher and higher, making it very difficult for anybody to start a new company, to start a new business. How do you do it when you just can't do it because the cost is way too high in certain industries? Starting, for instance, a radio station. If there is an available, first of all, the airspace or license, which is a bunch of bunk. There could be more than what they have available. There could be more. There's more spectrum there. But try getting a license, first of all. I mean, you got to go through all kinds of crapola and expense just to be approved for the license. And then when you get approved, now you got to pay for it, which ain't cheap either. And then you got to do certain things and have certain kinds of equipment or rent certain kinds of equipment or buy certain kinds, and more, all due to regulation. And frankly, it is designed to keep the small guy, the small mom and pop, out of the industry. Government regulation. Try starting your own. Make your own gas or diesel or ethanol. See how far you get with that before the government slaps you down. You can only make a limited amount. You know that. But, in some cases, the state also comes in and says you're only allowed to make so much. But in most cases, it's the Fed limitation that you can only make so much. Because if you make more than their so-called legal limit, then you must apply to be a refiner or a manufacturer, and that regulation gets involved. And you go from having a simple still, gasoline still or diesel, homemade diesel still that may run you $3,000 or $5,000 with all equipment in, to all of a sudden having to deal in millions of dollars. Check it out. Government red tape, government regulation. And the regulation is getting hefty even for the smallest of business. Getting heftier and heftier. So when you look at it, is 78 cents a gallon really a good idea? Sure, back in 1985. 2016, it might not be so much. It is what it is, but what it is not very good for the economy. And you have a bunch of people out there saying, well, it's not my fault that people are losing their jobs, but hey, it is. Obama's running around taking credit for the oil price dropping, but it's not his fault that anybody's losing their job, though. Somebody else who cannot step up, be a man, take responsibility for his decisions, and stop blaming others. children.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSinstitute.com.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, franzblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
703-835-3224 is number. You are listening to yours truly, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, all you wonderful liberty lovers all across the globe and all you wonderful ecclesiastites. Here's something from Yahoo Politics. They're saying, what? Yahoo? Why are you... Well, it's about Bernie Sanders. Feel the burn. Feel the burn. Feel the burn. No, there was some talk about Bernie Sanders over the weekend. It was like Friday night. And my basic final rebuttal in response about Bernie Sanders isn't feel the burn. It's not that we'll feel the burn. It's that the burn will burn the USA to ashes as we know it. Bernie Sanders, as I've said, has been a radical American politician. He's radical leftist. He's bordering on, if not pure communism. And I said, look, even the Democrats, at least back in the early days, couldn't take Bernie Sanders. This is why Bernie Sanders left the Democratic Party, went and became an independent. Because the Democratic Party, even people like Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid were not liberal or leftist enough for Bernie Sanders. And at first people look at the whole support of Bernie Sanders and they're shocked. I was kind of shocked at first, but then I thought and realized, what? We have all these wonderful millennials who are the bulk of his support, who don't take personal responsibility for anything. So why is it so shocking then that they would decide that somebody else needs to pay for them? Pay for school, pay for their pay for their college, pay for their medical and health care, and pay for this and pay for that. Oh yeah, we got to pay for. We're supposed to pay everything, and when they can't find a job because they've got a useless degree, then we're supposed to pay them or force somebody else to pay them. $15-20 an hour, really? And Bernie Sanders is out there saying, yes, I feel your pain. This is what should happen, and what we should do is we should be paying you. And that you should get, free college to. He just even came out with it. It's something, they gave it a name, by the way. They gave it a name. Universal College. Universal Community College. What they call it. That's what Bernie Sanders said, and I quote, Universal Community College. That means taxpayer supported. Because if you're going to if it's universal, you don't have to pay for it. It's free, right? Free. As I have always said, free's too damn expensive. We can't afford free. Bernie Sanders, his radical past, how the Vermont firebrand started wearing a suit and gave up on taking over big companies. Yes, the story starts out in July 1985. Bernie Sanders traveled to Nicaragua. And for those of you who remember Nicaragua, it's all about the Sandinistas. Remember, there was the Iran-Contra affair under Reagan. I think Ollie North got wrapped up in that mess. Well, Bernie Sanders left this Sandinista government. They sided with the communist-leaning Sandinistas. And the leftist Sandinista government was actually celebrating the 6th anniversary of the revolution that saw it take power from an American-backed dictator. America did a lot of it. We did back dictators. Kind of like the old saying, Well, the dictator that loves us is better than the dictator that hates us. And that was the same thing down in Central America with Nicaragua. And I'm pronouncing it right, because whenever you try when you're pronouncing Spanish names, they always want you to try to pronounce it properly. There are people that try to say jalapenos, and they don't like that. I'm talking Latinos. They don't like that. So, and when you say, if you're Americanized, then your name might be Juan. But if you're coming from south of the border, it's Juan. Juan with a W. It's Juan, because a J is not W. It's Juan. So I'm just trying to be nice, and I'm trying to do and pronounce it properly. Now, I might get it off because I have an American accent, and I apologize for that, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get it right. So it's Sandinista, and it is Nicaragua. And just like it's Cuba. We say Cuba, it's Cuba. Mexico. I know we say Mexico, but say Mexico, but say Mexico down in Mexico. They say Mexico. How they pronounce it, I don't know. Who are we to change it? No, I love, we get, I know. I want you people to think about this. And I'm not talking about being international here. I'm just talking about being a regular person who pays attention. Regular person who pays attention. We tend in the United States to get slightly upset more often than not when somebody mispronounces an American name. Now, the problem is that an American name is usually Americanized anyway. So it's kind of like Juan. Well, we just say Juan. Well, that's not how the name was originally pronounced. But it comes across, across the border, across the pond, and and you get it's all of a sudden it's a W instead of the J. Juan, like you won something. But we get mad if they can't pronounce, like in New England, if you mispronounce, like Worcester. I mean, if you say, Worcester or Worcester, they look at you like you got two heads around here. They get kind of mad at you. It's Worcester. Well, it's not Worcester, actually, but that's the way they pronounce it. So if somebody else mispronounce Worcester, they get mad. But if you mispronounce Nicaragua, well, they think, well, what's your problem? No, I know we say Paris, but it's actually Paris. Really? I don't know why. I don't know how to pronounce all the cities around the Tokyo. It's Tokyo. No E in between the K and the Y. It's not Tokyo. It's Tokyo. But we pronounce it Tokyo. I don't know why. But we don't. We when somebody else gets mad for when we mispronounce something, when we're not trying to pronounce it correctly, we problem. But then when it's reversed, if they mispronounce something like our last name or a city that we live in, we want to call for their heads like they're dissing us or something. That's the old term, disrespecting us. Respect is earned. It's not demanded. I love a lot of these people now. They have no clue what it is. You have all these young people saying, "Well, I demand that you can't diss me. You better respect me." And it's not just, I know some people will say, "Well, it's just black thugs." No, it's not just black thugs. White people, white kids too, and you better respect me. Don't you dare! I'll pop you if you disrespect. They don't want to give anybody else any respect, but they demand everybody respect them. It is the most convoluted thing. Excuse me, it's all about self-indulgence and arrogance. And look, hey, oftentimes, behavior of a country is the reflection of the behavior of their leaders. So if you've got a lot of people running around thinking that they're better than everybody else, arrogant, that they're smarter than you, White House. Look at the guy in the White House. He's no different. Anyway, back to Bernie. The leftist Sandinista government was celebrating its 6th anniversary of the revolution that saw it take power from American-backed dictator Anastasio Somoza. Sanders was in a crowd estimated at 500,000 people, many of whom were clad in the Sandinistas' trademark red and black colors and chanting, "Here, there, everywhere, the Yankee will die." That before. Here, Sanders was in the crowd that was chanting, "Here, there, everywhere, the Yankee will die." Hey, you want to if you're going to say, well, if you want to be technical, Rod, Yankee is only New England. Well, Sanders is a New Englander. He's from Vermont. So he's supporting this whole notion that the Sandinistas want to kill Vermonters. It's look, this stuff has been going on for a long time. This whole Muslim protection thing is nothing new. Liberals have been doing this for decades, for eons, trying to protect and show support for those people who actually hate them and want to see them dead. So this whole current thing about supporting Muslims is nothing new as far as the Democratic playbook is concerned. Now on stage, Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega, I know we say Daniel, but he says Daniel Ortega, accused the U.S. government of state terrorism for supporting the rebels who were seeking to overthrow him. We tried to, oust Presidente Ortega a number of times. I don't think we actually did. I don't recall. I don't think we succeeded. I think it voted out eventually, I do believe. And I think he tried to run for election to get back in, but he didn't make it. Excuse me. But the Sandinistas and the CIA-backed Contras would fight into the next decade with allegations of human rights abuses on both sides. Yeah, well, we know that the Sandinistas were brutal. Brutal. Now, at the 1985 rally Sanders attended, Ortega vowed the Sandinistas would defend the revolution with guns in hand. Now, Sanders was being hosted by the Sandinistas as part of a delegation of American Solidarity Group. Remember, they did that not too long ago. A bunch of Democrats went down to Cuba while GW was still in the Oval Office. They went down to Cuba. And they came back, shouting and all about the wonderfulness that is Cuba. Everybody got free health care in Cuba. The roads were nearly perfect in Cuba. None of that was true, actually, because, stage, but all went down to Cuba. Now, Sanders, he said he told reporters that their decision to show support for the Nicaraguan government was patriotic. Patriotic for the Nicaraguans' government. Sure, but not patriotic to America. He said, "We want to show support for a small country trying to be independent." Independent. Oh, I suppose they like chicken. whatever they eat tastes like chicken. Those of you don't, for those of you in Rush Limbaugh's Free-Linda, that's from the Fifth Element movie with Bruce Willis, going back a few years. Let's take a quick call here. 607. You're on the Rod Eccles Show. Go.
Go.
Oh, I got some. Well, if you're gonna call, turn down your listening device, your digital or electronic listening device. Isn't that what they're called? Listening or playback devices. So Sanders was down there in Nicaragua showing the Sandinistas and Daniel Ortega that the American communist and socialist leaning people and officials were supporting the Sandinistas because it's patriotic to show that it's patriotic to show support for your enemy at the time, because let's face it, of the USA. Sanders was in the midst of a revolution of his own. 4 years later, in 1981, he won a shocking victory, but only by 10 votes to become mayor of Vermont's largest city, Burlington, in northern Vermont. Now, Sanders was elected on a socialist platform and led a mayoral administration that he boasted was more radical than any other in the country. He boasted that he was radical. He was radical. Here comes another movie comparison. Anybody remember late 80s? I think it was the late 80s, mid to late 80s. Feifel Mouskowitz. It was the movie Feifel where Ratigan was the main villain. Vincent Price was the voice. Thought he was a mouse, but he was a rat. And he only won by 10 votes. So this whole notion, for those of you out there listening who say, well, my vote doesn't count. He only won by 10 votes. Now, what do you think that if 11 people who didn't vote got together and said, wow, man, we should have went there and voted, man, because, we could have be the mayor. Thought my vote didn't count, man. I didn't think your vote was going to count, and I didn't think your vote was going to count. These were my 10 best friends, man. Do everything together, right? We're like a group, and we didn't vote this time, so it was like 10 votes. So if we so maybe next time you know, 10 votes again, you know. Sanders said that he had a vision. He believed his work in Burlington could spread socialism throughout America. His goal, Bernie Sanders' goal, stated goal, was to spread socialism throughout America. And yet we have a bunch of people today in the land of the free. Forget home of the brave. You know, it used to be that you could say land, home of the free, land of the brave, and mean that you were encompassing probably a good 90% of the population. I think you'd be hard pressed to find 50% now where you could say land of the brave. No, not everybody's a coward, but I mean, look around. You think brave people running around? No, they're out there blaming everybody else for their problems that they created. Not only are they blaming somebody else, they want somebody else to pay for their problems and mistakes. And this is what we get in Bernie Sanders. Hey, you got the wrong degree. You didn't pay attention to how much college was going to cost you because you just thought, well, geez, it's Harvard. Have you? And I deserve it. Well, you don't deserve jack if you can't pay for it. You don't deserve it. I'll lay it on the line. If you can't afford to spend $200,000, then you don't deserve to go to a college that's going to charge you $200,000 for 4 years. You don't deserve to go. I don't care what your grades are. This isn't about grades. Now, I know people are out there, well, no, they deserve this. No, they don't if they can't pay for it. Now, I'm not disparaging those who actively go out and seek grants, legal grants and scholarships. That's all well financing your own education. But don't come to me, put your hands in my back pocket, searching for my wallet and say, well, I deserve to go to this school. No, you don't if you cannot pay for it. Not my responsibility to educate your children beyond the K through 12 years. Well, we all benefit. No, we all benefit from an educated population. Yes. 12. If you want advanced education so you can get a good job someday or a better job, then that advanced education is all about you, not the rest of the American people. But Bernie Sanders would have you believe that education should be paid for by anybody and everybody except the college student. Still trying to figure that one out. You're going to charge, and we know that the price of college education, government gets involved, it's going to go, well, look what happened to dramatically. And now we see, there was a story how some parents, if they qualify, they can college loans for but the parent's name is on the loan, so the parents have to pay it back. But they don't need to prove that they can pay that loan. As long as the kid goes to college is accredited, take out the loans, and before you know it, parents are, $60, $90, $120,000 in debt, and they wonder, well, what happened? I thought this was going to be cheaper. It's amazing. College can keep getting more and more expensive, and that is the fault of everybody else, banks. But medical costs, and it's the fault of health insurance companies and big pharma. But again, college tuition goes up, and it's not the fault of big education and greedy professors who make 6 and 7 figures a year. No. It is the direct responsibility of doctors and pharmacies or pharmaceutical companies, medical companies that make medical devices. It's their fault that medical costs are rising so much. And according to The Burn, all you got to do is just say you want to go to a public school. Sure, public schools might be cheaper, but you don't have to pay for it. Be getting real degrees, they don't have to pay for this stuff. I don't know. Well, think about it. Why would you even bother discussing the type of degree that you want, making sure that the degree is real and can get you a job later. You have nothing invested, so just go party. Mom and Dad and the taxpayer will pay for it. Sure, why not? Thanks, Vern.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the Tax Doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Makes you feel like you want to run across the Serengeti. Now, of course, if, there are some people out there that are going to think, oh, that's racist, Rod. That was racist. Serengeti, Africa, that's what they automatically think. Well, I can't be racist. I'm black. So I can say it. If I was listening to this music while I was on the Serengeti, I'd be taking off across the Serengeti. How's that? I love tweaking the liberal left because, I can really make them mad, and I love tweaking them. In any event, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, all my fantastic liberty lovers all across the globe, as well as you wonderful ecclesiastites. Hour number 2 here on the Rod Eccles Show with yours truly, your lovable host, El Rod, the Rod of Truth. It is still Monday morning, January the 18th, in the year of our Lord, 2016. The call-in number this morning, as it is in every morning, is 603-835-3224. And if you call, be live on the air as I broadcast somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where, by the way, even today, I checked, still live free or die, not big government or bust, is the... If you were around last week when what was it, Thursday? Even before then, I was talking about potential lottery winners of the $1.6 billion record-shattering jackpot. That one of the ticket holders, because, one of the alleged ticket holders came forward. Like a day after they won. And I said that, anybody comes forward already, they're idiots. You want to watch somebody lose $100 million in about 10 years? This is going to be a couple. They're going to be a classic case for this if they happen to lose. I mean, why would you do that? Well, here, lo and behold, is a story from yesterday, Sunday. You know, well, I'm not on the air on Sunday, but this is when WND.com. Concerned over the winners, the safety. A little bit, concerned about the winner's safety, which is absolutely understandable because you don't win a third of $1.6 billion and the next day go out before you even get the ticket verified, certified, and secure. You go out and you start telling people, yeah, I won. I don't know. Maybe they figured if they came out right now that they would be safer. Well, the problem is nobody knows, because that's not necessarily true, because nobody knows if the ticket that they have, if they actually have a winning ticket. We don't know. They haven't had it certified yet. But John and Lisa Robinson of Mumford, Tennessee, wasted no time letting the world know that they were among the three winners who split the jackpot, as they informed America on a Friday morning's Today show. Today is actually doing some advertising about how far back it goes. It goes back a long way. Decades. It goes. What is this? Six? It started when there wasn't even any color TV. They were still black and white. Who was the guy who had the this is the 70s now. Guy had this humongous, I can't remember his name. He had this humongous mustache. I thought he was a comedian or something, but anyway, getting off point, as I often do, because, can. But they're on the Today Show. The Robinson family are on the Today Show talking about their winning ticket, which is has the lottery officials absolutely dumbfounded. And you can't help but wonder, why would they do such a thing? I don't know. Maybe this person's got the answer. 336, you're live on the Rod Eccles Show. Go.
Good morning, Rod.
Good morning.
First, I wanted to thank you, man, for this great show and giving us the opportunity to come on here and speak our minds, brother.
Thank you very much.
And what I wanted to talk about this morning a little bit is the evangelical vote. I keep seeing Huckabee complimenting Trump pretty much daily now. And I think what's going to happen, at least I hope, I'm a Trump supporter. I think when the Huckabee steps aside, I think he's going to help Trump with this evangelical support. I think a lot of it will sway to Trump. And I look at it this way, Rod. I like for folks to hand me the Bible so I can read it myself. But if you open up the Bible and start quoting Scripture to me, I feel like you don't understand that I believe in God and that some things, you interpret differently. And I think Cruz has over-pandered to the evangelicals. We've seen this happen before to the Republican Party. And just because you don't go to church regular or submit yourself to a lot of things that you don't believe yourself, doesn't mean you don't believe in God, and doesn't mean that you won't stand for Christianity. And I think that's where Cruz is getting this wrong, just like the statement about New York. There's a lot of our military guys and gals that are from New York. There are a lot of New Yorkers living all around me, and they're great people, and they're looking forward to seeing Trump become president too. And I don't think that evangelicals will sit back and not vote this go around like they did for Romney's bid.
Well, I hope that is true. I hope they will not sit on their duff and not vote. But I don't know if the evangelicals are not really looking at Trump as a fellow evangelical. They're not. And, they may not be firmly or fully happy with Ted Cruz. And you're right. I think Ted Cruz is trying to pander a little bit too much to that crowd. But one could argue that Ted is an evangelical himself, where they don't believe that Trump is. And I don't think Trump has ever said that he's an evangelical. He says he believes in God. He believes in Jesus, that he's a Christian. He's definitely not an evangelical. So
I'm sorry.
I don't think that they're going to stay home on Election Day in November if Trump is on the ticket, if he's the nominee. I think that they'll be, because he's not a Mormon, I think they'll be able to feel a little bit more comfortable voting for him. Now, with that said, will they be supporting him in the Iowa caucus? I think, Cruz may have a lead. He may have an edge there, but I don't know how deep this whole notion of Cruz is not, a natural born citizen, because he was actually born in Canada. I don't know how much that'll hurt him, because that's really important to the people in the Midwest. I mean, flyover country is very American.
Right.
The left and the right coast.
one thing when I see Trump on the stage, I see so much energy. I see so much energy. In the times I've seen him with the Bible, he holds the Bible up and says, hey, I read the Bible. But to quote Scripture is wonderful if you're in church and you're with fellow Christians. But once the general election comes around, there's a lot of folks that are not as deeply involved in the church. Not that they won't be in the future, but I think when general election time comes around, if we have someone that's too far leaning toward evangelicals to carry them through this general election, Cruz is not going to get it done, and that's just my fault.
Get it?
And
I
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I see the Well, your other aspect was about swipe at New York, and frankly, I think a lot of pundits might overplaying that, because frankly, when people outside of New York talk about New York, they mean the Big Apple. Have hit the nail on the head, because the rest of the country, except for California, sees what New York City did. By an overwhelming majority, they elected basically a communist as mayor, de Blasio. And so when Cruz is talking about New York values, I think he's pointing to New York City, and what they recently did is elected basically a socialist, mayor. Now, where he made his error is that he was trying to say, well, that was also Trump. Well, obviously Trump is a full blown capitalist, which is about the exact socialist communist. So I think he erred on that part, but I think he really hit the nail on the head as far as the rest of the country is concerned about how they view New York City. And believe me, if you look at the stories around the country, Americans are not, they think to visit and that kind of thing, but they kind of.
Well, see, this is coming from my point of view. I live in North Carolina, and this is the dirty South, but I have respect for New Yorkers, even though they may not be evangelicals in certain circumstances, but they do have a lot of heart. They are involved in our military. New York is more than just New York City. It's upstate New York with country scenes and small communities up there. And a lot of people that have lived in New York may have moved out because they didn't agree with the fast-paced life and the big city lights. But they still have a heart that is rooted in where they were born and where they were raised. And if we don't get these folks in the general election that live in these other states that are from New York, that's just a bad mark beside the Republican Party. And we can talk all we want to about immigration, illegals, which, Trump is so big on, and I'm so proud of him for that. But when you start separating Americans by their values, that's when you lose votes. That's when you lose a general election. That's when people get divided and don't come out and vote for the Republican. And we've had enough of it. We've had enough of this general election stuff where we falter, and we cannot let Hillary take this thing, or Bernie, the communist that he is. We cannot let these folks get in. We need somebody that can win a general election. We need Trump, and we need Trump only. And I would love to see Huckabee back out, throw his evangelical support behind Trump, and then I'd like to see Huckabee be our ambassador to Israel, because we need Israel, and we need to get this country protected, and we need to protect our brothers and sisters in Israel.
I think it's the first time I've heard Huckabee's name thrown around to be ambassador to Israel, but I suppose that would not be a bad choice.
You watch him when he's interviewed or when he's speaking. Israel is on his plate. He's been there many, many times, and he's a good guy. He's really a good guy, and I can see him sitting across the table with the Israelis and just bringing us back together as a family again. And I would love that, Rod. And I want to ask you a question, if I can.
Sure. What
made you to decide to do this show, and how long have you been doing this?
Personal. Wow. Well, I basically started this program back in 2009 simply because I was really upset and angry with our newly elected president at the time, Barack Hussein Obama, and trying to shove Obamacare and a couple of other things down our throat within the first 3 months of his presidency. So, went on the air to express my frustration, and this program was born.
Well, man, we're so proud of you. We're so proud. This is new. This is new to a lot of us. A lot of my friends and followers on Twitter. We're talking you up, and I wanted to ask you another question. If a couple of times a week I can get my followers on Twitter to give us maybe 3 topics to talk about, are you into that, man? Can we do that?
Sure. What's on everybody's mind? That's why I have open lines when everybody can call.
Okay, I know a lot of people are nervous about calling in. I'm nervous. I stay nervous, but I'm just doing what I can.
Well, you didn't sound nervous. You did your job. You made me look good.
Well, that's a good thing. So what I want to do is maybe a couple of times a week, get some folks on Twitter to give me suggestions on what kind of topics that I can bring up to you, because, you make me feel comfortable, Rod, and that's so important to someone that's not done this before. And I'm going to get off here and give somebody else a chance, but I want to thank you so much. The Rod Eccles Show rocks. You rock.
I am humbled by that. Thank you very much. And thanks for your call. In calling the program. Look, I do want to hear what's on other people's minds. I mean, I try to bring you the relevant information, and a lot of times I bring you stuff that the other big guys aren't talking about. But it's also important to understand and know what your interests are and what your take is on some of the things that I'm talking about here. It's good to have a conversation. Give me a call. Don't be nervous. You know, it's not like 20 million people are listening. I'm not going to tell you how many people are listening. We're getting there. We are getting there. But honestly, you know, if I go back to my original topic of this hour or this segment, if you win, let me just ask this question. If you find yourself with a life-altering event, it will change your life potentially forever. And you know that it's going to change your life forever. Would you not then prepare yourself before you accepted that life-altering event? Now, I know sometimes, you know, life-altering events just get thrust upon us and we have to go with the flow right there. I understand that. But there are times when there are life-changing... I mean, you know, there are people that get a windfall in an inheritance, and it doesn't really matter how big or how small it is. You know, to some people, a $50,000 inheritance could be a life-changing event. But before you got your hands on that life-changing event, would you go and do your due diligence and prepare yourself? Or would you just go with the flow and say, hey, yeah, I'm going to take this? Because the one thing that I've always... Here's how you can do this experiment with yourself. All you have to do is, just for a week, just try it for 1 week. Give yourself some spending money. I don't know, whatever you can, you're comfortable, whatever your weekly personal allowance is, or do you allow, make it $100, $200, doesn't matter. Whatever it is. Take it in cash and put it in your pocket. Do not keep track of where you're spending it. Just I know this is going against the, all the financial wizards out there that tell you to keep track. But I'm just telling you, don't keep track of it just this once for a week. And just go about your daily routine of what you normally do every week and spend it. Normally do. Don't use a card, use cash. Now, for some people, cash means that they're going to spend a little bit less because they're actually taking it out of their empty as they're spending the money. Sort of curbs their spending a little bit, but I get that. But just do it. You will be surprised how fast that money dwindles. When you're actually looking at it, you'll be surprised at the end of the week that if $100, $200, you'll be surprised how fast you get below 10%. Because that's when you're not paying attention. And a lot of these lottery winners or these windfall winners, could be lottery, inheritance, what have you, they forget their sensibilities when it comes to money. They simply forget, and they don't realize what they're spending. And so they think that they have all of this money. Yeah, $1 million, man. That $1 million doesn't go as far as one thinks it does. And it happens over and over and over. What is it, 60 or 70 are broke or bankrupt within 10 years, within a decade. They lose it all and then some. So, yeah, the lottery officials are rightfully concerned that this couple came forward basically the day after the draw. One of the winners. Continue after this.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSinstitute.com.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Friends Black and his music on his website, friendsblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
Bring the rain.
603-835-3224 is the number to call should you wish to join me here on the Rod Eccles Show. I am still your lovable host as we head into segment number 2 of the second hour. Fastest 3 hours on internet talk radio is right here on the Rod Eccles Show, powered by Zinc Media. Gotta love it. Continue. Now, I know some people are saying, why is he dwelling on this lottery? So what? Those people, you know, if they want to be crazy and stupid and ignorant, all the other kind of negatives that surrounds, you know, not being very smart about their lottery ticket and their potential winnings, then it's their own business. Well, you got to hang with me on this. If you've listened to the show long enough and you're an ecclesiastic, you already know that there's a point I'm going to make. You already know there's a point coming. Oh, yeah, there's a huge point coming. So if you're new to the program, I'm just asking you to hang in there because you're going to learn that I never say anything on this program without a reason. The reason. Now, the couple, basically, they went to New York City. And they took their daughter, and according to the story, they took their attorney and the attorney's daughter with them to New York. I don't know what, you know. Attorney, you know, as well, like the daughter. In any case, you know, so there's 5 people. Get on an airplane, go to New York City. Now, remember, they're from Tennessee. Get on a plane and go to New York City so they can be on the Today Show. Today Show. You know, what is it, Matt Lauer? I don't like saying Brett Favre. Lauer. They go. Yeah, Matt Lauer's Today, right? I don't watch the morning shows, those morning TV. I never really have, so I don't know who. Joan London was she on Good? I think that's the last time I actually really regularly watched. Joan London was old now, right? No, I've never liked her. She wasn't a very good reporter. She was very liberal, you know, like most. But I got to tell you, I always thought. And I know some of you liberals out there listening, that's just sexist. Why is it sexist to say that somebody's... Why can't a guy tell a woman that they look pretty? Is it sexist if a woman says that a guy on TV is a good... I mean, because wasn't Matt Lauer like one of the, you know... So why is that not sexist? And why is it not, why is it not sexist for a guy to say another guy is good looking? Double and triple standards all over the place with you liberals. Just pointing it out. I know if I... Okay, it's obviously not sexist if a lesbian says that another woman, whether they be straight or lesbian, is... Do I need to go into everything else too? You know, what's the, what is it, the LBGT? I have no idea. NAMBLA is now an alt. Just pointing that out, putting that out there for you. The couple took their daughter, Tiffany Robinson, and their Memphis attorney, Joe Townsend, and his daughter, Eileen Townsend. So I guess, maybe Joe is not a direct relative of them, or not their child anyway. Maybe Joe Townsend's married to another daughter. I don't know, but the other daughter couldn't make it for whatever reason. I don't know. But they went to New York City to appear on NBC before, so it's not the Today Show. What is NBC? Is NBC the Today Show? Yeah, because ABC is Good Morning America, right? Before going, they went to appear on NBC morning shows before going to the lottery office in Nashville, Tennessee. So they left Tennessee, their home state, to go to New York City to appear on a morning talk show 2 days after basically a day after they find out they win the lottery. And while on the Today Show, John Robinson allegedly pulls the lottery ticket from his shirt pocket and informed everyone he was one of 3 winners. Now, again, we don't know if that was the actual ticket, but it's kind of, even if it's not, why would you do that? There are people out there who are going to think that you actually have the winning ticket and that's the winning ticket. And you're carrying it around loosely in your shirt pocket? Anyway, Karen Gerstner, a Houston attorney who's worked with 48 big lottery winners in the past, said in an email that now every long-lost relative and friend will approach them with a sob story asking for money, and all the financial crooks will come after them as well. So Daniel Mayoris, Mayoras, that's probably Michigan State planning attorney and co-author of the book Trial and Heirs, H-E-I-R. This is shocking. It is absolutely shocking. Putting it out there on the Today Show before you even make the claim, before you even get everything in order, was extremely surprising. It really put the lottery ticket as well as the family at risk. Now, here's the thing. Here's the rub. Now, to officially cash in their lump sum of nearly $328 million after taxes, the Robinsons still need to travel to Nashville after leaving the Big Apple. Left their home state, traveled farther away from the place that they needed to go to lock this down, secure it. Because, hey, no matter what you say or what you do, the lottery does not care. All that counts to them is the actual legal ticket. Now, there have been numerous times where lawsuits have been filed about people involving lottery tickets and mega winners, jackpot. The lottery, unless they absolutely know that there's some fraud going on, they don't care. All they care about is the ticket. We haven't seen it. We don't know. The lottery has not officially said that they've seen this ticket and confirmed it, so they don't know. Now, this couple could be out there, just found a great opportunity. Now, I doubt this is the case, but they could be. It's not like we haven't had people come before and make a false claim that they're the winner of a lottery jackpot. It's happened before. So we don't know if this couple got it right. We don't know. The lottery really doesn't care until that ticket gets into their hands and they can certify it. Now, flying back and forth to New York when you have to submit the ticket and make the claim in Tennessee may not be the best idea, said Mayoras. Whether you're carrying around a Powerball winning ticket or not, we all know that when you go to the big city, there's things that can happen. People lose things, and traveling and everything else, you can forget things behind. Your luggage can get lost. You can get pickpocketed. Things that we heard constantly. France was, be careful of pickpockets. I mean, they were broadcasting it everywhere, on all public transportation that we got on. They always talked about pickpockets. In the airport, they said, be careful of pickpockets. Yeah, look, you got pickpockets in New York, too. That could happen. I hope it doesn't. Here's the point. These people obviously are not very savvy with money. Now, I don't know what they did before they won the lottery. I don't know how successful or unsuccessful they were in their personal finances before the lottery. But this shows how ignorant of finances and financial planning they are when they jump the gun like this. This shows not only a lack of planning, but a lack of common sense. What they look like or where they're from. This is just plain common sense. Now, the other two lottery winners have not come forward yet, as one would expect that they would be taking their time putting all their ducks in a row. That makes sense. That's common sense. People didn't do that. So they've never taken the experiment of just, putting $100 in their pocket for the week and just without keeping track of it, just spending it and then paying attention to how much they have at the end of the week. Why is that relevant to this program? Because that's exactly what our politicians do on a daily basis, both in state capitals around the country and in Washington, D.C. They do not keep track of the money. They don't care how much money you have. The lottery doesn't care about anyone but that ticket. Many politicians in state capitals, especially Democrats and liberals in Washington, D.C., do not care about you either. All they care about is the amount of money that you're going to be sending to them via taxes and fees and fines and everything else that goes into the government coffers so they can spend it. Because they don't have to pay attention to how much they spend. They will just spend willy-nilly. And we keep it. It's like electing the Robinsons. Would anybody elect any of the Robinsons to a public office right now if they had anything to do with handling the governmental budget? Would anybody do that? 99% of America, including liberals, probably would not vote for any of the Robinsons right now because they're showing a complete lack of fiscal and physical responsibility and safety. Well, this is what you're electing every 2 years. You're electing the same fiscally irresponsible people to go to Washington, D.C., who then really pretty much not only put our own physical health in danger, but our physical health in danger because now we have to be under what? Obamacare. How does that make any sense? So now it is becoming extremely clear about how we have some of the Neanderthals that we have in Washington, D.C., because we have ignorant people like the Robinsons who are out there voting. Now, I'm not trying to pick on them, but look, they put themselves out there. They're the ones that have invited scrutiny without preparing. I got to tell you, well, maybe they did it at against his will and, in his best advice, which is why he came along. But I tell you what, I was their attorney. I'd say get another attorney. You guys aren't listening to me. If this is the case, I mean, if he advised against them doing this and they still did it anyway, I'd say find another attorney. You're not going to listen to me. You're going to end up losing it all. And most likely, some of it they're going to blame on him. Watch. I'll give it a decade. And they will lose just about everything. And they're going to blame their attorney on some of it at least. It happens all the time. Why, if I was their attorney and I advised them not to go until they got all their ducks in a row, and they went anyway, I would tell them to find another attorney because it's going to be a nightmare trying to advise them legally and financially speaking. But they're out there voting for the Neanderthals in Washington and probably in their state capitals. I don't know what their politics are. I don't know if they're conservative or Republican or Democrat or liberal or socialist. I don't know, but it just goes to show why we have some of the people that we still have in office, why they get reelected over and over and over and over again. because somebody's not paying attention with and not playing with a full deck upstairs. I look, I fully get the excitement, but let me tell you something. If I played the lottery, which I don't, if I did, and if I won, you would still be hearing me on the radio because I wouldn't be changing my behavior until I got all of my ducks in a row. You wouldn't know that I won because I wouldn't tell you on the air until I had everything set so that when I went and got this ticket cashed and certified and got that check, and that check goes in the bank and everything automatically goes where it's supposed to go, where it's safe and invested and all that. I'm safe with it. I'm not going to tell anybody. I might not even tell my family. Well, I mean, obviously you'd have to, if you're married, you got a husband. Speaking of wife or husband, there was a joke on Facebook that kind of revolves around the lottery that I saw over the weekend. Husband goes to now this is not bashing wives. It's a joke that I saw on Facebook. Husband goes to his wife, and he says, "If I won the lottery, would you take half and leave me?" And the wife looks at him and says, "Abso-freaking-lutely," thinking that he won the lottery. And he looks down at her and says, "I won $20 in the lottery. Here's $10. Get out." Again, be careful what you say before you know everything that is going to be said afterwards. Get all the information before you make a response. That goes for winning your lottery too, but it really goes for understanding and knowing who your politicians are. I got to say politicians because I don't know. There aren't many running for office right now that I would consider and be statesmen. And if they're not yet a politician, they're practicing to be one. So you got to really, ask what's going on when it comes to that kind of stuff. Hey, it is what it is, right? You just got to be careful and vote for the right person. You got to understand who the right person is. Yes, you got to understand that the right person is going to be physically and physically responsible for you and your money. Plain and simple. Think of it this way. Think of our elected officials as being the stewards or the financial advisors in charge of our nest egg. You know what's interesting to me? I'm going to put it in a little bit different perspective because I want you to truly think about this now. What I find extremely interesting that we have financial advisors out there. Yes, we have lots of them. Different kinds of financial advisors and financial advisors, they have some of them have specialties in certain particular areas and some of them are specialties in other areas. Some of them deal in really risky investment vehicles and others are very dealing blah blah, all that kind of stuff. So we have all these wonderful investment advisors out there. Now, the interesting thing is that most of them will do their damnedest based on the amount of risk that we're willing to take with our investment. They're going to do the best that they can not to lose that initial investment and in fact try to grow that into a sizable sum. Hey, they make the more money they make you in many cases today, the more money that they'll end up making. So they have a vested interest in trying to make you as much as possible. Sometimes they may take too many risks. Yes, I get that. But all in all, they're out there trying to improve your financial, your physical stature, because it enhances theirs. Now, whenever we have a financial advisor that loses a substantial amount of our investment, what do we normally do? Well, we normally fire them, pull control of our money away from them and give it to somebody else, or take it under our own wing. And sometimes we even look to see if we can go after them for making mistakes that they should not have made, for fraudulent behavior or illegal behavior or illicit behavior, what have you. We try to go after them legally with the law, and then we try to go after them maybe in civilly in the courts by suing them. Yet we got politicians who mismanage our money all the time. A lot more than most of these financial advisors mismanage. And yet we still reelect them, and sometimes give them a promotion by voting them or electing them president. Or, we give them promotion by sending them to Washington, D.C. instead of your state capital. They may be a state senator or a state representative, and we decide, well, yeah, we're going to vote for them and send them to Washington, D.C. as a representative or a senator. We don't think about firing them. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, we can't sue them, Rod. We can't sue them. No, we can't sue them. It's true. But we can fire them by hiring somebody else, by electing somebody else into that office that is so important for our physical well-being. Now, I got to ask you, again, I haven't endorsed anybody, but let's look at, we know on the Democratic side, you can forget any fiscal responsibility over there. As a matter of fact, you can forget any physical responsibility over there, because none of the Democratic candidates would do anything to change or repeal Obamacare. Although, I think Bernie Sanders basically says that he would double down on it and probably try to push for universal health care right now, just complete government takeover. So I guess that is changing current Obamacare. But that's the end goal anyway of Obama and Hillary and Barney Plank, is to get universal health care and complete government takeover of the health care system. Medicare for all is what they say. Medicare for all. Most seniors don't want Medicare. They want to give everybody Medicare. But on the right, we constantly are voting for the same people who are not being fiscally responsible. And they're harming every single one of us. I don't point on the lottery issue. We got to stop electing the same people in the same positions, and we got to stop giving poor performers a promotion. Fire them, send them home, send them packing. And my point is, on the right side of the political aisle right now, as far as Republican candidates are concerned, who there would be smart fiscal stewards as president? Well, I think Trump would be. I think Cruz would be. I think to some extent Rubio would be. I think to some extent, Carson and Fiorina would be. I don't trust that Bush would be, or Christie, or Kasich. Santorum would be, somewhat, as well as Huckabee. So, we got to, and Paul, I believe absolutely. Try to go the opposite totally and completely, which would not be pretty either. But, hey, spending less, if it's cutting in the right areas, not defense, that's a good. So Who are you going to vote for again?
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. As we head into hour number 3 with my brand new opening right there. That is some powerful stuff, man. Let me tell you, that gets you jumping really, really early in the morning. Hey, look, for your new morning routine right here, you need some, it gets your blood going. Makes you want to get up and dance. Or maybe run across the Serengeti. That's right. Welcome back to all of you liberty lovers all across the globe, as well as you wonderful ecclesiastites. Yes, it is still I, your lovable host, El Rod, still coming to you live for hour number 3 from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still, come on, say it, live free or die, not big government or bust. Yes, I checked again today, and it is still, this morning, still live free or die. I'll let you know if it changes. Trust me. You'll hear me screaming before it changes first, because I'll be fighting against it. The call-in number, again, is 603-835-3224. Again, that's 603-835-3224. No, I had somebody the other day tell me, you have a radio DJ voice. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Well, you know, like those guys back in the day, in the 60s, those DJ voices. Like, no, I don't think I sound like that. If you want me to sound like I'm a real DJ from way back in the day, then this is how I would really sound coming across the airwaves to you. And I don't sound like that. So, and I can't rhyme very well. Wasn't that a prerequisite? You had to. I think DJs were the first rappers on the. You had to. Remember the show Car Wash, or not show, but movie Car Wash. The original movie, not the cartoon thing. I know there are kids today, they only know about the cartoon with, Will Smith was the the movie Car Wash. Hilarious. But DJs back then, if you watch, it's probably on Netflix or something. I got something here about Netflix too that we're going to. how they used to do it was absolutely. It didn't matter the hue of your skin tone either. I mean, white or black or Latino, you had to be kind of the same. WKRP in Cincinnati, that was a sign of bad radio stations. Remember the TV sitcom WKRP in Cincinnati? I know I'm taking some people back. Look, that stuff is on Nick at Night and Nickelodeon and TV Land and things like that, I think. So I've seen episodes. I think they also, you might want to check Netflix. I know I'm kind of blowing up Netflix here, but you might want to check. I think Netflix has all the seasons up. WKRP in Cincinnati. I know I've seen some episodes recently, and I think it was on Nick at Night or TV Land or something. I can't remember which network, but they have them out there playing. The only thing that you don't see out there playing now, really, and it used to be all over the place, is the Cosby Show. I mean, you could watch the Cosby Show, after it got into like its third or fourth season, you could see Cosby. I think it was one of the most played and replayed sitcoms in history. There was a point in time at the height of the Cosby Show and Bill Cosby's popularity that the Cosby Show in syndication and replays was playing on at least one TV station, cable channel, what have you. I think it was playing at least, on average, once an hour every hour. It's a half-hour show. So every hour, whether it be at the top or the bottom of the hour, you could for 24 hours a day, you could catch the Cosby Show. I mean, that's how much it was being. And he was making millions of dollars on the replays. And the cast was not. The rest of the cast was not doing too shabbily either. And it's still one of the most popular, most highly rated sitcoms ever. I don't think it's ever going to be topped because the dynamic of what TV is changed so much, and there's so much there's so much variety for people to pick from. Today's big shows. I mean, by today's standards, if they went by standards back then, they wouldn't make it. You get a TV show today, and if it gets a 6 share, well, that's huge, man. That's huge. You get a 6 share back in the 70s and 80s, and that's threatened to be canceled. How diversified entertainment and television has gotten over the past 20 or 30 years. Choice. It's all about choice, and yet we don't seem to take our choice very seriously when it comes to electing our officials. We seem to elect the same old ones over and over again. Everything that I say on the show has a purpose, and it can be brought back towards political discussion and current event discussion. See, I love being able to do that, to make people think. That's the whole purpose of the show. If you're new to the show, my goal is not to get you to think like me. Not at all. That's not even a secondary goal. I've heard, well, you just want people to think like you. No, I do not. Don't want people to, that is not my goal. My goal is to get people just to think, and to think logically. Because if you think logically, we are almost always going to agree on the macro. Thus, you will automatically begin to think more like me. Not just like me, but more like me. So my goal is to get you to think logically about things. Because then we're just going to agree on the macro. We'll still disagree about the micro probably, but how best to achieve that big picture or big goal. Hey, we want the Constitution back being the law of the land. We want it being the supreme law of the land like it's supposed to be. We want the federal government to be shrunk, and we want to get our freedom back. That's a macro goal. And if you think logically, most logical people will come to the same conclusion. Yeah, we want our freedom back. We may disagree on how best to achieve that outcome, though. That's fine. Great to have debates about that. What really sucks is when we waste our time trying to debate people who just want to take our freedom away and we want to protect it. I mean, that's a losing race.
Eventually, your freedom gets eroded when you're only fighting in that aspect instead of fighting to figure out the best way to protect your freedom and get it back. Keeping it, and we keep losing it. So that's my goal, to get more people to think logically. And then more people to come over and think logically, and they see the big picture, then the more we have to worry about somebody else taking it away, because there'll be too many of us trying to figure out the best way to maintain and grow our freedom. That's it. My goal. My goal with this program isn't just to be out there talking and spewing stuff. My goal is to get people to think logically. And speaking of logically, here's a story from WND. Sex. Now, when I saw this headline, I'm thinking, no, this is like an Onion story, right? No, it's not. It's not comedy, not dramedy. It's real news. Sex with lobbyists could be classified as gift to lawmakers. Basically, going to bed with special interest has everyone suddenly looking under their sheets is the subtitle. Yes. Legislation sponsored by Republican state representative in Missouri, the Show Me State. That's their state motto, the Show Me State. Is that a gift? Would that be construed as a gift too? If they, because hey, you got to show people. I'm not going there. Sorry. Legislation sponsored by Republican state Senate or state representative of Missouri, Bart Corman, would require lobbyists to report any sexual encounter with a member of the legislature as a gift with the State Ethics Commission. Corman said recent indiscretions in the Show Me State prompted his effort to clean up the system. So, can you imagine this on a national? Hey, Bill, that would put Bill out of business, wouldn't it? If I get a story here about Bill too. Thousands of women, I guess. I don't. Somebody accusing him of being like a Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt is still he's a former basketball star, Hall of Famer. What is that? I think he's the only. He was the first professional basketball player to score 100 points or more in a game. Wilt is still arguably one of the greatest centers in the game of basketball. Claimed at one time, that he had slept with or had been with more than 10,000 women. I don't know how you keep track of that. That's what he claims. So now you got somebody out there saying that Bill's thousands of women. So he's had 1,000 or 2,000. I don't know how you. It's only a couple of years. Only like 3 or 4 years worth. If you have a different woman every night, it's only about 3 or 4 years worth, I guess. If you do more than one at a time, too, sometimes. But in any case, this guy in Missouri, how I understand they pronounce Missouri. It's not Missouri. There's no A at the end. It's an I. But Missouri. I hope I pronounced that right from those people out in Missouri. If I mispronounced it, give me a call and correct me, because I try to pronounce things correctly. Kind of like here in New England and Massachusetts, I do try to say Worcester, and I do try to say Peabody instead of Peabody. I do try to say Leominster instead of Leominster. Is what it is. Now, last year in Missouri, 2 sex scandals involving lawmakers and interns rocked Jefferson City. I don't live in Missouri, so I didn't know about these intern via lawmaker scandals, kind of like Clinton in the presidency. What is, look, I know that most of the time it's a male lawmaker with a female intern. Now understand that is not only scenario. Now I have not heard of any female lawmaker with a male. I suppose it could happen. I just haven't heard of it. But it can happen because oftentimes it's a female public school teacher with her male student that gets caught. Male lawmaker, male intern, that could possibly happen. I just haven't heard of it happening, but it could. May have. But I know it's usually male lawmaker, female intern. And on some occasions, we're finding out, well, it's happening a little bit more often than we thought it probably happened. Male lawmaker, male intern. We got a lot of closeted lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle, by the way. Liberals out there to say, oh, yeah, Republicans are just, they're closeted and they're hypocritical. No, they're not. Look, you can't tell me that you can't go out to Hollywood and find a bunch of liberal male movie stars who are denying that they're homeless. Whatever. I don't really care. Doing the sheets. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. None of my business. You want to get freaky between the sheets? That's both consenting adults. That's fine. Go for it. But if you're trading sex for political favor, well, I think that's kind of a form of corruption on both the lawmaker and the lobbyist. But I don't know how you get somebody, a lobbyist, to keep something hidden that they don't want to come forward with. Because if it's a gift, are they going to have to pay something for that? I mean, how do you can't donate, because, a lot of lawmakers, they may get a gift and they donate it to from an agency. Donate I'm just trying to figure this out. I mean, look, I'm not disparaging Republican State Representative Bart Corman out of Missouri, but I'm trying to understand how far this can possibly go. Do we really need to do that? And if we do, why? Have we ever stopped to think about why some people think we have to have some of these onerous laws? I mean really, it's kind of an invasion of privacy. I know that I hear the other side of the argument talking about, well, state secrets involved or national secrets involved. There's, playing favors, buying influence and everything, or with sex instead of money in this particular case. I get all those arguments, but isn't it incumbent on the electorate that when they find out that somebody is misbehaving in the elected position, that during the next election, they fire that individual? Why is it we keep electing the same criminals over and over again? So is this a lame attempt to try to ring in the corruption that is rampant all over the country as far as political office is concerned? Now, again, last year, 2 sex scandals involving lawmakers and interns rocked Jefferson City. In May, Republican State House Speaker John Deal stepped down after sexually charged texts with an intern were discovered. 2 months later, Democratic State Senator Paul Lavoda resigned in response to allegation he sexually harassed 2 interns. Now, these are, there's no sex, obviously, involved here. It's just harassment. What was that? The famous New York case, Weiner. Congressman Weiner was in the Huma Abedin's husband, by the way. That's who Uma. So it's actually Uma Weiner. And we're
So actually, the Wieners are kind of back in the public eye. They were right next to Hillary Clinton. Well, I guess you could say that they were two women that had something in common. Uma had her husband, Congressman Wiener, and Hillary had her husband, Governor, and then President Bill. If they report this kind of stuff as a gift, does that mean that these guys are less likely to get reelected, or does it mean that if it has to be reported as a gift, that they're going to do? Is that? I think that's the goal, is to get people to do activity, but is it really? What's going to happen to people who don't report it? Is it really a gift? It's sex and power. Go hand sex, power, money. Triumvirate. They go hand in hand in hand. If you got power, you can get money and you can get sex. Money, you can get power and you can get sex. If you are good enough in one form or another with the sex, you can get power and money. Hey, just ask prostitutes, male and female. Person. Oh boy. I think that's what this legislation is trying to do, is trying to kill some of that illicit activity. If we're going to try to clean up our state capitals and our national capital, maybe we need to start putting some onerous rules and regulations and laws on our lawmakers, just as they're doing to us. Maybe we need to really reverse it and put it on them instead, so they behave themselves. Because I guarantee, if you make it very stringent for these people to be in power, they're not going to want to stay there because they're going to be too restricted. Isn't it funny how that works? If you restrict somebody too much, they're not going to want to do that thing that's restricting them. So if you restrict them and say, you've got to walk on this edge of this knife, because if you slide off one way or the other, you are going to get cut. You're going to get cut deep, and you're possibly going to get thrown out of public office where you can never run again. And maybe if you did something what we now construed to be criminal, you're going to, look, why not? Why not take something that's legal and nobody's business and turn it against our lawmakers who do that to us, we the public, we the people, all the time? They take law-abiding citizens and turn them into criminals. So why don't we take these so-called law-abiding lawmakers and turn them into criminals? I think that's fair. Anybody else think that's not fair? Well, I mean, yeah, well, you're going to have lawmakers that are going to think it's, but I think it's fully fair. If you're going to do that kind of stuff, I think it's really, really, really fair. Because you're putting us under the microscope. Fair to put you, our political leaders, under. Speaking of microscope, now this is something that really kind of irks me. You know, the American people, through taxes, we help fund, not 100%, but we do fund a significant portion of PBS TV and PBS broadcasting, public broadcasting system, and radio. Subsidize them a lot. And the thing is that some of the programming that they have, especially on TV, are some of the biggest programs on TV. Sesame Street. Sesame Street is about to make the leap to HBO. And going mainstream. Well, I know Sesame Street's already all over the place. You know, Toys R Us. On the toy aisle of just about any place that sells toys, and there's Sesame Street all over the place. Now they're going, you know, there was a Sesame Street movie. They could, Sesame Street and This Old House, I happen to love This Old House, but This Old House is financially huge. They could contribute and support PBS. But I think it's actually the other way around. PBS actually has to pay them in order to have their programs on PBS. And we put that bill. Now, how is that fair? Especially when you start talking about big corporate America, man, is screwing the American people, and they're not paying their fair share. Well, neither Sesame Street.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSinstitute.com.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, friendsblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
Bring the rain.
603-835-3224 is the number if you wish to call here and speak to yours truly. That's right, 603-835-3224 is a call-in number. Back to Sesame Street. Big Bird has a new nest. This is Sesame Street. They've changed Sesame. I haven't watched Sesame Street in decades. Sesame Street. I know about Elmo, but I haven't watched Sesame Street in decades. I don't know what it's like, but I do know Sesame Street is a huge revenue producer. Huge. I think it's hundreds of millions of dollars. If not billions. I don't Sesame Street Sesame Workshop is the name of the production house that actually owns Sesame Street. Paraphernalia. Jim Henson the neighborhood of Sesame Street, and it has since 70, right? Yeah. First premiered 46 years ago now. Anyway, Big Bird has a new nest. Elmo has moved into a new apartment. Elmo was a kid. Elmo has his own apartment. Is a kid monster. Big Bird has a new nest. Oscar the Grouch is hanging out in recycling and compost bins alongside. Can you say politically correct PC crap? But the biggest change may be how you watch Sesame Street. The 46th season of the classic children's show premieres Saturday on HBO. That paid subscription network like Netflix that's home to shows like Game of Thrones and Girls. Is it Gilmore Girls or just Girls? I don't know. New episodes of Sesame Street will air on its traditional home on PBS 9 months later. So wait, now if I not mistaken, PBS still has to pay. Netflix still has to pay as well, but that's how they do it. Children or Sesame Workshop. So they have to pay. Is no different. They have to pay. Production company. But the workshop, the show's production house says that the changes were made to ensure the survival of the show in a very different television environment than the one that existed when the show began. Well, if they really want to ensure the survival of the program of Sesame Street, I don't think putting it on a HBO is the way to go. You're going to want to put it on Nickelodeon. What is Nick Jr.? What's the morning? That's the morning. That's where you should be putting it. HBO? Really? You think you're going to get a lot of parents who are going to let their kids watch Sesame Street on HBO? But hey, we're still going to foot the bill. Taxpayer going to foot the bill of paying, for this huge corporation, Sesame Workshop. Now the producers of the show, they say that we have certainly have had a complete renovation to our neighborhood. Boy, have they ever. They took down some buildings and put up trees. So if you remember watching Sesame Street when you were a kid, if you go back to Sesame Street, looks like there's urban renewal going on. They took down some buildings and put up trees, and the show's executive producer, Carolyn Parente, P-A-R-E, tells NPR's Michael Martin, it's really more changes in season 46
than we've ever had in one singular season, she said. One of the big, huge changes will be on HBO. The new HBO show will last only 30 minutes. Now, wait till you hear why, folks. The HBO show will last only 30 minutes, down from a full hour. Parente says they made the decision based on audience testing. They learned that kids could retain the information on one cohesive theme throughout a half hour more than an hour. We found an hour was cognitively dense. So don't challenge the kids. Dumb down the show. Dumb down the program. Don't strive to make the kids stretch themselves and reach for more. Oh, no, dumb it down so it makes it easier for them. Are you still letting your kids watch that? I mean, well, just about every single children's television program, especially on PBS. Remember the Teletubbies? Where'd the Teletubbies go? I'm glad they're gone. Don't bring them back, but... So children have gotten used to watching Sesame Street alone rather than with their parents, a trend that's been increasing for... I don't remember my mom watching Sesame Street with me. Now, I'm not saying that she never did it. It was not a regular thing. You know, Sesame Street was a good babysitter for an hour. You know, parents, your mom, your dad, home, get to catch up for it. No, you're not going anywhere because you're stuck in front of... I get parental viewing change and they got to watch the program. Didn't. Did you? Maybe parents should definitely be watching more of what their kids, some of this kids' programming is pretty, it can be pretty raunchy. Stuff like that they, people still consider to be kids. New Muppet Show? I don't think that. Well, the original Muppet Show was kind of, New York Times is reporting that disruption by Netflix irks TV foes. The headline, you'd think that it would be TV people. Tension between Netflix television networks escalated this weekend after industry executives expressed mounting frustration over Netflix's refusal to disclose ratings. At a Television Critics Association, Association for Television Critics. This was an event. NBC Universal introduced viewership figures last Wednesday, provided by an outside firm that suggests several Netflix shows fall in line with broadcast and cable shows, implying that traditional television remains vibrant. Now, I got to tell you, viewership on using their own stats is way down versus what it was. I don't know where. Now, Netflix chief shot back yesterday saying the numbers provided by NBC were remarkably inaccurate, and asking why NBC would spend time and energy to talk about
our ratings because they don't like you, Netflix. Just don't like you because you're taking away their viewers. You know, you and HBO and Showtime, you're garnering. Well, Game of Thrones, not network TV. House of Cards, not network TV. Girls, Gilmore Girls, whatever, not network TV. You know, Entourage, not network TV. I don't know all of these because I don't watch them. New shows like popular, but not on network TV. And even when you get on so-called network/cable television, it's mostly, the games are mostly happening on the cable sides. You know, Mad Men, not network TV. Walking Dead, not network TV. These guys are just trying to save their businesses because don't think that this whole net neutrality thing about, you know, being able to take away P providers to be able to be on everything to be fair. That was because you had movie houses and network television whispering in the ear of our government officials saying, you need to stop. I just say, just give us more quality content and you might find more viewers. Pretty simple. I don't know how difficult that is. And so now they're complaining that Netflix won't review their private. No. For them and try to imitate? Nah. I'm with Netflix on this one. D.C. Washington, D.C. By the way, before I get to that one, let me get to this one really quick because this is important. USA Today is reporting this. A lot happens over the weekend when I'm not on the air, if you can believe that. Berry City, Vermont. USA Today. Deputy Jean Miguel Barreto of the Orange County Sheriff's Department spots the driver of a red hatchback using his cell phone. When Barreto pulls him over, it's a straightforward call to write a ticket. He saw the driver use his phone, and the young man behind the wheel admits it. The man behind the wheel had denied violating Vermont's distracted driving law. Checking the phone records would have helped the deputy make his case, but a search like that requires a warrant. Lawmakers want to make it easier for officers like Barreto to enforce Vermont's 2014 ban on using handheld devices while on the highways. They're asking Vermonters to give up some of their privacy. Oh, the government. Bernie Sanders, Vermont, is asking their voters, their residents, to give up some of their privacy in exchange for safer roads. Not going to be safer. You're going to be pulled over more often. You're going to have your phone confiscated. Try having your phone confiscated once, because they're going to take it for evidence then. Exactly what's going to happen. Sorry. Don't doubt me. What's going to happen. So especially when they come to you and say, well, we just want you to give up some of your privacy in exchange for safety. Give them for safety. That's what they're asking you to do. Now they're not even afraid to ask that anymore. They're just coming out and saying it. We're asking you to vote away some of your freedom, of your liberty, some of your privacy, so you can safer roads, so you can be more safe. That's what we want. In order to make you more safe, we got to take away some of your liberty and your freedom. Now, we got. Trust me, if they want to do this and voters say no, they're going to do it anyway. They're just going to pass a new law. Go, and it's ridiculous. More than a show. So they're asking Vermonters to give up some of the, now Benjamin Franklin said those who give up a little give. But even if the chief sponsor of the bill hasn't really thought about what exactly fair game for warrantless search under his bill, haven't thought about it. I don't know really exactly what would be, a fair game in this bill, but we gotta get those cell phones out of people's hands when they're driving. So if some people get caught up in the bill when it becomes law, they voted for it. People they willingly gave up their freedom. It's okay. We're gonna just take it to the nth level on this. Voted for it. This is Bill H-527, introduced by Representative Martin Lalonde, Democrat out of South Burlington. Go figure. It would allow law enforcement officers to see a driver's phone or other electronic device to see if it was being used. Lalonde said he doesn't intend for police to be able to take a person's phone back to his squad car. No, that's exactly what's going to happen. Because why? Why is it going to happen? Because a cop is going to do it. Somebody's going to say, you can't do that. And the cop's going to say, yes, I can. I have legal authority, and watch him do it. He says, well, I'm going to sue you. Then they're going to take it to court, and the Supreme Court's going to say, Vermont's going to say, well, hey, gets to search it now. Didn't say how he had, it's warrantless, so he can do it. People are going to be incensed, just telling you. Wait, did you know that no food is healthy? No food is healthy. And kale. Portland, Oregon. Are you prepared for this in honor of Martin Luther King Day? Portland, Oregon is Portland, Oregon Community College. In April of this year, is for the whole month of April, is going to have White Shaming Month based on white privilege. Portland Community College. Down the white person. Shame the white person for an entire month. People are the reason for evil everywhere on the planet, right? Evil that blacks do, that Africans do to Africans in Africa. That's white. That's due to white privilege. Evil that Asians do to other Asians in Asia. That's due to Western white privilege. The damage that's going on and killings going on in the Middle East between Arab versus Arab or Arab versus Moor versus Persian, again, it's due to white privilege. So we got to take Portland Community College in Portland, Oregon is got to take you white people down a notch. We got to have a white shaming month for all the yummy, wonderful college students. Their minds full of mush are going to come in and start. This is setting these kids up for a future psychoanalyzing and therapy, because they're trying to tell or teach these kids to hate themselves. How dare you be white and have white privilege. How dare you? These kids are going to grow up screwed up, and you parents are going to be to blame because you let your kids go to these colleges teaching this crap. I've been for years now. And you get some people that are getting it, but the vast majority are still saying, well, we got to send our kid to college. So now you're going to spend more to send your kid to college, or your kid's going to rack up more debt to go to college just to be taught that, if he's white, he's scum. I don't... How idiotic is that? Why would you do that? You know how racist it would be if a traditionally black college came up and said, we're going to have Black Shaming Month. You'd have people that would be irate and incensed by that. Oh, but and the same thing if it was Asian Shaming Month or Latino Shaming Month. Nobody would want to deal with that kind of crap. Oh, I wish I was making some of this stuff up, but unfortunately I'm not. White Shaming Month. Oh, boy. In April of this year, out in Portland, send your kid to college. Make sure you want to teach your privilege. Well, send them to Portland Community College in Portland, Oregon. Weekly. Shame somebody for, they're probably going to blame slavery on your college student. Your fault. Guys, for being white. Stupidity and idiocy. Another WAPO, Washington Post. Old machines. Missing dollars. Washington, D.C. may not be ready for an election. Oh, does this come as a surprise? Surprise. Elections in the District of Columbia have been handicapped by faulty voting machines, inadequate polling staff, inaccessible polling stations, and delays in vote tallying. And people say, well, this. And yet it is unclear whether if any of these problems will have been remedied by the time the district holds its next major election in 6 months, or more, better yet, general election in. One thing to get it wrong in the nominating process, right? But not to get it straightened out and get it done. Problem there. This is a very serious issue, by the way. Talking about machines that aren't capable of doing the job that they were designed and installed to do. And they're still using these machines. Still using inaccurate, inadequate machines to do the vote counting. Unbelievable. Unfreaking Harry believable. Can you? Well, why not? Washington, D.C. is the city proper is not, the city government is not exactly conservative leaning at the moment. This same city, by the way, after he went to jail for drug abuse. Oh, will these broken machines be back? They'll be back to haunt us all, I'm sure. Well, folks, we are come to the end of another program for today. The end of Monday. We'll be back here on Tuesday. Until then, I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. You have a wonderful afternoon. Rush and Hannity up next. I'm out.